Hello everyone, I'm glad you joined me because I'm going to speak on it. Okay, now I seen this article and it disgusts me. Police used stun gun on Florida woman on her 70th birthday. Okay, let's read the news article. A Florida grandmother was struck by a stun gun 3 times by police after she refused to allow officers who had an arrest warrant for her grandson into her home, NBC News reports. Citing a probable cause affidavit obtained from local authorities, the news agency reported that 70-year-old Barbara Pinkney was at home on early Thursday when police knocked on her door asking for her grandson's whereabouts. According to the publication, police said they were trying to serve her grandson, Tevin Turner, an arrest warrant for violating probation by allegedly carrying a concealed weapon. However, Pinkney told a local NBC station that she didn't let officers search her home because her grandson didn't live there. When he was on probation, he gave this as his address, but he wasn't living here, she said. In footage captured by Elizabeth Francisco, Pinkney's granddaughter-in-law, Pinkney could be seen attempting to close her front door before an officer grabs her by the wrist and used a stun gun on her. Police records obtained by NBC News states that Pinkney was hit by the weapon 3 times before an officer used his knee to subdue her as she was arrested. She was taken into police custody on an obstruction charge as well as battery on law enforcement officer, according to NBC News. The incident reportedly occurred shortly after 7 a.m. on Thursday morning on one day after Christmas. Police reportedly did not find Turner at his grandmother's residence during their search. However, authorities reportedly suggested that he could have fled his grandmother's home during the ordeal. Pinkney said she is still shaken after the incident. I don't know. Whenever I see police, I just try not to look at them, she told the local station. She is reportedly scheduled to appear in court next month. So, in Florida, a 70-year-old black woman, mother and grandmother, Barbara Pinkney, was assaulted by the police after standing for her rights to not have her house entered after answering questions and asking cops to produce a warrant. After not producing said warrant, police pushed their way into the house by rushing the elderly woman and tasing her 3 times, which was unnecessary and could have been fatal to someone of that age. The reason why the police were there is because her grandson, who was on probation, had put her address down and was wanted on a probation violation for a concealed weapon. I want to know why the police thought it was so important to violate a person whom had nothing to do with the situation, a person who was posing no threat other than standing on her square. Is it because she is black? When she answered the questions, was she not believable enough? So much so, the police officer couldn't show any respect because she doesn't deserve it. What is the protocol when someone who is not on probation associates with a person on probation, be it those whom the person may live with or those whom are around said person? Can police just violate their rights because they associate with someone on probation? The sad thing is this: 70-year-old woman who had never been in trouble, which I'm sure before the officers came they looked up or tried to look up her record, could see this, but still came with no respect for this woman and her house. A probation violation for carrying a concealed weapon does not in any way garner the outright assault on her rights and physical assault on her person. Tell me what you think about this situation.
Shaken, angry, and fearful after this. She says she was tased and arrested by Manatee County deputies, she says, for not letting them into her home. 8 on your side's Marco Villarreal joining us live tonight from the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. Marco, tell us what happened here.
Good evening, Rod. Barbara Pinckney says deputies came to her home looking for a man who violated his parole, but instead left with a grandmother who's never been in trouble with police. 7:30 in the morning, the day has unexpected visitors.
And we heard a knock at the door. Well, it wasn't a knock. I think they kicked the door. It was a bam, bam at the door.
Manatee County Sheriff's deputies say they came to serve an arrest warrant to Tevin Turner, Pinckney's grandson, on violation of probation for carrying a concealed weapon.
When he was on probation, he gave this as his address, but he wasn't living here.
That's not what deputies thought as they came to Pinckney's house wanting to get in. Video shot by her grandson's wife shows her refusing and trying to close the door. It shows a deputy grab the 70-year-old woman's wrist as she pulls back. She was then tased and taken to the ground hard.
I was just hollering. I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. I was just hollering.
The probable cause affidavit shows Pinckney was hit 3 times with a stun gun in her left arm, her back, and her upper back, and was held to the ground with the deputy's knee. Visible injuries still seen on her body.
She's bleeding! She's bleeding!
Barbara Pinckney, on her birthday, was arrested for obstruction and resisting an officer.
It's not something you see every day or something you would expect to happen. Even if she wasn't my grandmother, it's like something like, dang, this is a 70-year-old woman.
Now, the woman who says she's never had any problems with law enforcement says she's traumatized and can't sleep at night.
I don't know. Whenever I see a police, I'm just going, I try not to even look at them.
And Barbara Pinckney has a court date for January 17th. And meanwhile, MCSO has not responded to the video, only to tell us what they say happened that day. Meanwhile, her grandson, Tevin Turner, her family says he was not at the home. He still has not been caught, but deputies say it's possible he may have escaped from the rear of the house while all the chaos was happening in the front. Reporting live in Manatee County, Marco Villarreal, 8 on your side.
So speak on it in the chat and let me know what you think about this situation.